Evening all. Welcome to I'mPossible Conversation, the conversation where ordinary people share their extraordinary journey. It's all about everyday people doing normal things, just you and me. So tonight my guest is Paul Lancaster, and he's a founder and event producer of Newcastle Startup Week annual festival for startups and monthly Founders Friday event as well. So let's welcome Paul. Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I've got the halo above my head. We were just saying before. Which, I can't. If I turn the light off, I'll just be here in darkness. But, it looks like I've got a halo above my head. So
yeah. So I think that's kind of meant to be, isn't it? Or have you chosen to sit there?
This has become like a regular occurrence now because I've been doing a lot of events, a lot of interviews, and a lot of live streaming myself during lockdown. So this is the obligatory case behind me to make me try and make me look a bit more intelligent than I am. So.
Oh, right. I'm just so glad that you made time to come on I'mPossible Conversation because I know how busy you can be. So really appreciate that.
No, thank you.
Yeah, because I'm sure you've been interviewed and been invited in so many different podcasts and shared your experience, what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a few actually. I've actually done a few just in the last few days as well. I did a podcast yesterday, an interview, and another one a few days before that. But it's nice actually. I like being interviewed because it's normally me interviewing other people. So it's nice to have a conversation with someone, and we always have an interesting conversation. So it'd be just really good to bounce ideas off each other and share things. I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. Because I think personally you are one of the most kindest person I've recently met.
Okay, thank you.
And I believe that's all our environment makes us who we are today. So could you tell us about your childhood and where were you born and just brief?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I did grow up in Gateshead, so on the way out west of Gateshead, almost Northumberland, in a kind of semi-rural village. Quite an idyllic childhood. I was a very happy little boy. Loved school. Like great parents, always very supportive and encouraging. Never really knew what I wanted to do, to be honest, at school. Just was always did pretty well at school, though. I was always in kind of like top sets and never the top of the class, but always kind of did quite well. But I had to work at it. And it's funny. A lot of my school reports used to say has great potential, but is easily distracted, and that's exactly the same now. I'm 43 years old, and it's exactly the same now. I feel like I've got great potential, but I'm easily distracted. So, but yeah, no, just had a great, like I say, a very, very fortunate, lucky, happy childhood. Yeah. So.
So, when you were little, what was your most passionate subject, or what were you dreaming of when you were in young age?
Yeah, so I've always been a bit of a daydreamer, definitely. I was always a daydreaming and very creative and imaginative in different ways. So I always loved drawing art. That was kind of my thing. Was kind of known as the best artist in school, but it's funny, like art comes out in different ways, like creativity comes in different ways, and I haven't really done anything what your class is traditionally artistic or creative in a long time. But over the years, it's just manifested in different ways. Like I was always really into music as well, so I spent a while as a semi-professional DJ producer in like my teenage years. I was always the kid at school who had the records before anyone else, had like an encyclopedic knowledge of music, like knew all the labels, production credits, knew everything about the artist and the music and the label. And then when I went to university, I got the chance to DJ at some fashion shows, and then started doing some club nights and winning some competitions. And then when I came back home from university, I started dabbling a bit with music production, and got my first record signed to an independent music label. And then, for the next kind of 5 years, I thought that was what I was going to be. I thought I was going to be an international superstar DJ. And I have DJed in South Korea, Rome, Malta, Budapest, Prague, Switzerland, Washington, DC, Sacramento, London. DJed all over the place. Had quite a lot of records released. Critically acclaimed, commercially not that successful, but for me it was just about expressing myself and just seeing if I could do it, and doing it for the love of it and doing it for the fun of it. And it just became something where I thought, can I try and make a living off this? And then again, that kind of ended, and it just come out in different ways. But now I think entrepreneurship, like I've spent the last 15 plus years helping other people start or grow their own business, giving help or advice, signposting, matchmaking. And then I finally started my own business 4.5 years ago. I actually think self-employment, entrepreneurship is a very creative thing to do. You need to be creative, you need to be imaginative, you need to be always open to possibilities and not closed-minded, and have that growth mindset. So for me, I get to express myself in lots of different ways through the work that I do now.
If you go back to your DJing years, what changed? Why? What made you to change your career?
What, to be a DJ?
When you're
be a DJ,
like from DJ to something else.
Yeah, so
I don't know at that time, because I know you are a SuperConnector and all these events, but at that time probably you didn't have it.
No. So basically, I went to university to study geography, which is like absolutely nothing to do with anything I've done since, right? But that was just my favorite subject at the time, because again, I'm just curious about the world and everything in it and how things fit together. So that just seemed like a good thing for me. And again, it wasn't just about the subject; it was about the experience of going to university and all the people that you meet and all the things that you learn. So. But my first job after university was working for Sage, the big software company in Newcastle, on the help desk, doing technical support. And again, what I liked about that, I like helping people. I like fixing problems. I like giving help and advice. And usually people would only ring up if they were at the end of the tether, if they were really stuck, like they'd maybe been spending days, or hours, or days, or even weeks struggling with a problem. They would ring me up or other people up, and we would be able to fix it. And I just like that, the ability to fix problems and make people go away happier than when they rang up. So I think that's always been something in me that I like. If I'm in a position where I can help other people, I like to. Like, why would you not want to? So in different ways. So yeah, my first job was Sage. Did that for a couple of years. Then I left to be a graduate trainee web developer for British Airways. Realised I'm not a very good web developer, but I do like, again, the ability to like make changes and update a website and communicate and so I left. That was when I signed my first record, when I was working for British Airways. So my first two jobs were corporate jobs, and I didn't really fit in, to be honest. I didn't really enjoy that environment at all. I didn't really like being a small cog in a big machine, where you're just basically told what to do, and like if you've got any different, if you've got any different ideas, you're kind of told to stop talking and just. I didn't really like that. I like the idea that I could contribute and suggest new ways of doing things. So so making the music was a way for me to really express myself, and I got made redundant from British Airways when 9/11 happened, so it shows how long ago that was, and that was obviously horrible, devastating experience. But I saw that as an opportunity. I thought, right, very understanding parents. I was living at home at the time, and I said to my parents, I'm not even going to look for a job now. I'm just going to focus on my music completely. The next 12 months, that's all I did. I was just making music, just in my bedroom, producing, remixing records, getting records signed, DJing all over the place, having an amazing time. And then after about a year, I thought, I'm a bit skint. I could do with a job. Got a job at HMV in the Metro Centre, thinking that would be a dream job, and I hated it. I hated working in retail because it wasn't as fun as I thought it would be. And then I got a job at an organisation called Generator. Generator is a not-for-profit music development agency. So my day job was helping people get into the music industry. And then in my spare time, I was making music, and so that was the perfect job really for a little while. And then I moved more into, I felt like I'd all that experience, the web development experience, all the marketing experience I had when I was at British Airways, I felt like I was wasting that. So I got a job with a local enterprise agency called Project Northeast, which is based in Newcastle. And again, the role there was giving help and advice to people in charities, not-for-profits, helping them upskill the staff and the volunteers, but using my web development skills and marketing experience. And that was kind of the beginning of me growing my network locally, regionally, nationally, and seeing the power of social media to communicate with people and help people find what they needed. And so yeah, long story, but move from there. Another youth enterprise scheme. I worked for a youth enterprise scheme, helping young people 16 to 30 start their own business. Then I left them to go back to Sage. But I wasn't bottom of the ladder there. I went back as a marketing specialist, so I had a bit more kind of authority.
Freedom.
Yeah,
Right.
well, yeah, and
Yeah.
but what I haven't told you is when I stopped the music, basically, I stopped making music because I fell in love. So my wife, it's like being a DJ and I don't think is a very good occupation to have when you want to be married and you want to settle down with someone, because
all right, okay,
you're locked away in your bedroom.
That's like kind of a star, and then lots of people.
Yeah, but I joke about it. But like, basically, when I was at my creative best was when I was lonely, unemployed, skint, and like brokenhearted. That was when I was at my creative best. But once I fell in love, I just wanted to be with her all the time. I didn't want to make music. So maybe that's just the story I'm telling myself. But and that was good. You know, I've happily married for a long time, and we've got 2 beautiful kids, and got married, had a great wedding, great marriage for 2 kids. Did the whole settling down stuff, but then at the start of this year, we separated. So I'm now kind of expressing my freedom again and being more creative again, and kind of reliving my youth, I suppose, in different ways. And not to say that relationships, you can't have that, but I think for me anyway, I was maybe not living to my full potential or being truly kind of expressing myself when I was in that relationship. But now I'm going back to that. So yeah, that was a long-winded answer, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. So what's this COVID time been like for you? Being locked down inside.
So
and you're talking about this creativity.
Yeah, so it's obviously it's been horrible for lots of people and for lots of reasons. So I do get a lot of energy from other people. You know, the SuperConnector. You know, I was going to lots of events. I do have a really good network online and offline, and that's been built up over many years from from being sociable and being open-minded and being helpful. I think that's a key thing of like always. I think I've built up a reputation for being useful, neutral, impartial, knowledgeable. Always have something I can give to other people. I can always add value. That's the thing I've always thought is, what's the point in going to a meeting if you're not going to add value? Like, you should always be trying to always add value. That's a key thing for me. So not being able to do that has been difficult. I mean, at first, in a weird way, I quite enjoyed it, like, because I probably was a bit guilty of going to too many meetings and too many events. And quite like to just hide away and just focus on.
Very different, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was probably a chance to press the reset button as well, and because all the other stuff going on in the personal life, separated, moving into flat on your own, living on your own, city centre where the whole city's like a ghost town. There's no one around. Literally me. My kids were staying on a weekend, but during the week it was just me. Business wasn't the plan. Now what am I going to do? But I started just like trying to reminding myself who I am and relearning who I am and picking up old hobbies again and trying out some new things, and dabbled a bit with some poetry. Not very good poetry. I've written a few poems, reading books, just expressing myself in different ways, podcasts, videos, interviews, photography as well. That's something during the lockdown I was going out every morning. I still try to go out every morning, but during the lockdown I was going out pretty much every single morning on my skateboard and just exploring Newcastle city centre, Gateshead, and documenting all the interesting places that I already knew, or finding new places and documenting all on Instagram. So that was another way for me to express myself creatively in a new way that was not only fulfilling to me, but other people were really enjoying it as well, because they didn't have a chance to get into the city, and they were saying how much they enjoyed seeing parts of the city that they couldn't see in person, and it was keeping them motivated as well as myself. So
I was quite captured by that as well, because when it's busy, full of people, you never notice them beautiful things, but it was completely empty, and you taking photos and bringing it to us. That is quite good and interesting thing.
Yeah, because I thought, it's such a unique situation to be in. Like, I just wanted to document it in some way, and like I've always been curious and like sort of nosy and kind of, what's around this corner, and kind of. But it was, even though I'm observant and I am curious about stuff, it was making me look closer at like places I'd seen before, or what passed hundreds of times before, and just taking a bit more time to stop and notice and take a picture. And so that's something I'm really pleased that I did that. That's something when I look back and think about it, that was something that I found really fulfilling doing that.
I remember you were even mentioning about cleaning the signposts.
Yeah, I never.
Do you know what? Like, that's a great idea, Paul. Go for it.
And I never got around to doing it, but like, going around there's quite a lot of notice boards or sign boards which explain the history of parts of the city, because they've been there a long time. Some of them have got like, I don't even know what you call it, like mildew, or it's kind of like moss and mildew and dirt, or so you can't really see it. And I was just thinking, maybe I should come out and clean some of these things, or wouldn't it be good if like people just came out and just cleaned the city, and for no reason other than just for themselves and other people to enjoy it. So I don't know, I might do that sometime, but it would be nice if there was like doesn't have to be just me doing it, but if anyone sees something to clean it up.
You could always start,
Yeah, exactly. You got to
start something new.
Start something
Start.
new. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think I'm always encouraging people to start something new, and I like to set an example. If I'm encouraging people to do that, that was another thing in my head, is like, okay, I'm encouraging people to start something new. I should start new things as well, and set a good example to myself, but also my kids and anyone else that's around me. But I think what I don't want it to be, it doesn't have to be me doing these things all the time. And I think sometimes if you put yourself forward as the person that does things, it kind of lets other people off the hook a little bit, because they think, oh well, he'll just do it because he always does stuff. And really like more people to just give it a go.
Start themselves rather than following others.
Yeah. I'm nothing special. I've just decided to do certain things, and some things resonate with people, and some people are inspired by stuff. But like you said at the start, just everyday people just doing kind of extraordinary or unusual things. But anybody can do that. Like, if it's humanly possible, it's possible. You can do it.
Absolutely. Yes. So let's talk about This Is Mine.
Yeah, no, thanks for.
I just loved it. Like when I very first found out about it, and it's like made in Northeast, and this is mine, and it just felt so warm.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm glad you liked it, because again, that's something I think worked. It just, like, you try lots of different things. Some things work and some things don't. But like, that's the thing I've learned, is that I am good at coming up with new ideas, like, because I've got experience doing it. So I trust myself that I will. If something doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because I'll have another good idea will come along at some point. So as long as I keep trying, something good will come of it. But that one, where that came about, I am a deep thinker. I do absorb a lot of ideas and from conversations and things I read, and sometimes it'll take months or even years to come out in a certain way. But where that came from is just from the whole experience of working for local enterprise agencies and economic development and going to events, and just for years I've heard people say, oh, we've got so many great things happening here, but we're not very good at shouting about it or telling people about it, right? People have been saying the same thing for at least 10 years, maybe 15 years, saying that. So I was thinking, well, why don't you just do something? Why didn't someone just do something then? And I was sick of waiting for someone else to do it. And so years ago, I don't know if you remember, but there used to be what's known as a regional development agency called One Northeast. Didn't know if you've heard that before. But One Northeast, it was their job. They were the government would give them money, and it was their job to responsible for economic development of the Northeast. You had one in the Northwest, one in the Northeast, one in Yorkshire, all over, right? But One Northeast, I think, if I remember rightly, they spent £15 million on an advertising campaign, and it was called Passionate People, Passionate Places. And it was quite nice. It was nice. And lots of people still talk about it and say, oh, wasn't that great? And we need to bring passionate people, passionate places back, and wasn't it amazing? But you can have passionate people anywhere. Right? That's not unique about the Northeast. That you can be anywhere, right? But people still think fondly of it, right? But they did do some research study. They spent 15 million on a big TV campaign, loads of billboard campaigns, whatever. And at the end of the day, they've figured out that there was no economic benefit whatsoever in that campaign. It made local people feel good about themselves, because it was like images of beautiful beaches and Bamburgh Castle and all that. Yeah, nice. But it didn't grow any businesses. It didn't lead to many more tourists or anything like that, right? So all of that, I thought, okay, we need something that's really clearly rooted in the Northeast region, but also isn't seen as a Newcastle thing, isn't seen as a Gateshead thing or a Sunderland thing, because I don't know if you know this or you picked up on it, but there is some quite deep-rooted rivalry between Newcastle and Sunderland and different parts of the region. Yes, it's the northeast, but there's a lot of rivalry to do with football and shipbuilding and like heavy industry of like years ago that's still there, right? So to come up with something that people in Newcastle, people in Sunderland, people in Gateshead, anyone in the northeast can get behind and feel some pride in, and it's hard. So I think I managed to do it by coming up with This Is Mine, because it's like, this is mine because it's made in northeast. So mine, yes, mining, was a big thing if you wanted to talk about that, but more so that it was like, this is mine, it belongs to me, I'm proud of this. This is unique about this area, this thing that I'm doing here that you can't get anywhere else in the region. So it works on lots of different levels. But the other thing that what I like about it is, from the very beginning, I said it belongs to everybody and nobody. Yes, I've come up with the idea, but it's not my, it's your thing. It's everybody's thing to do what you want with. So anybody can use it. Anybody can use the logo. Anyone can use the hashtag. Just use it in the kind of, in a positive way. And it's worked. But even though, yeah, do you get it?
Yeah, I get it. But when did you think, like, this is it, I got it?
I don't know. I mean, immediately I thought,
you just explained everything, but like, like that moment. Wow.
I don't know, because
I got it.
Well, I think that's the thing. I thought I got it right, but then you'd say, okay, just because I get it doesn't mean other people. So then you have to go through the process of trying to explain it to other people. And human nature, some people just don't like something that's not their idea. So there's some people who it's their job to come up with things like that. It's their job to come up with like slogans and strap lines and economic development and stuff like that. And there was definitely a bit of resistance from some people because it wasn't their thing, or there was like, oh, we can't use that, or this, that. It's like, just use it. And then basically I just started using it, and other people started using it, and it gained a bit of momentum from that. But at the same time, I think that's something I'm quite good at. I'm quite good at being slightly anti-establishment. Do you know what I mean? So,
no.
So I'm quite good at working with the establishment.
All right, I see.
Yeah, like the official kind of organization, but I'm also slightly anti-establishment as well, because I'm willing to.
Do you hide your true self?
No, I'm willing to bend the rules a little bit and kind of do things a little bit, not even naughty, but like a little bit disruptive. But I know how far to push it, and not to be too naughty. Do you know what I mean? But like, that's how you get growth, and that's how you get innovation, when you try things slightly differently, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, so what? But I can take those risks. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I can take those risks.
Is there any risk involved in that as well?
No, but to me, there's no whatsoever. There's no risk. But to some people, they can't do certain things because they'll get into trouble, or they can't be seen to be doing stuff. So great as This Is Mine is, and like a lot of people have been using it, and I mean, people are still using it, but it's like, it needed me to kind of keep using it, because every day.
This Is Mine?
Yeah.
People are still, I don't know, I am using it.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, no, because
I am.
Lots of people are using it, and I know journalists read it and other people use it. But I think that's good that people are still doing it, because definitely in the early days, I was having to still push it and remind people that this thing was there, and say, look, whenever people were saying, oh, wouldn't it be great if we had a passionate person, I'm like, we don't need it. We've got this thing here that other people are using it. Because, but even now, earlier this year, I think the local councils tried to introduce something new, and it didn't work. They introduced something called My Kind of Tune.
why do they need that?
They don't
Why
need.
do people like to have like? It's kind of an ego thing, isn't it? Is that right?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's probably a mix. There's probably a bit of like
Like
maybe
recognition.
somebody will have said, we need to do something. We need to show that we're doing something during the lockdown, and we've got to be proactive.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see why people have tried to come up with a campaign, but it is actually very difficult. I mean, I am a marketing guy. I've got loads of experience doing this. So like the history of social media is filled with people trying to do campaigns that fail. It's very difficult to get momentum. So when you do hit on something that works, I think you should just get behind it and pour more fuel on the fire and just support it instead of trying to come up with something brand new. But people.
Something brand new, you just said.
Well, yeah, not something new exactly, but like, yeah. But if something's working really well, do more. Do you know what I mean? So there's probably a mixture of some people feeling like they should do something, or they're being told to come up with something, but maybe they just weren't aware of that this is mine or whatever because it hadn't come across their radar. But if there was someone in that room that had heard of mine, I think they failed by not flagging that up and saying, we don't need to do this because there's already something really good here. Why don't we just get behind that? So I think if somebody knows about something good and they haven't spoke up about it, they've failed. They've not only failed in their role, they've failed the other people that are getting behind it, something that's working, because people have already chosen to get behind something, and you're now telling them to get behind something completely new that feels a bit like forced and a bit contrived. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So if you're watching this and you were behind, you failed.
Let's talk about no email day.
So that's
how? Because okay, before go that, how do you create a day for something? Is it easy? Do you have to register?
no.
How does it work? Because I
No.
know a guy who's created International Wheelchair Day.
Okay.
Yeah, but we never had a I'mPossible conversation yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, you first tell us how can
Yeah.
we create a day?
I just said I was going to do so again, this is just like an experiment. This is just one of many things. I've just thought, let's just give it a go and see what happens, and if it sticks, then keep doing it. So one of my heroes is Seth Godin, who a lot of people will have heard of. Seth Godin, he looks a bit like me. That was good looking, but bald and big mouth, bally blogger. But he wrote a book called Unleashing the Idea Virus, and I think you can download it for free. But it's basically there's a bunch of books that I'm really into. Is like why some things are viral, why things take off and become successful. And in that book, he basically encourages people to just try things and gives them certain suggestions on how they can increase the chances of things becoming viral. So I basically studied that and read that and thought, okay, I'm going to try and see if I can come up with something. So what do I think is going to be emotive enough that's going to get people's attention and people will get behind it because it's something that just annoys people or like something like, because so at the time, email was just really annoying me. I was just getting too many emails and I was struggling to keep up with emails, and lots of people were saying this stuff. So I just thought, very dramatic. I wrote a 9-page manifesto, right, explaining why email was so bad and how people were spending too much time on busy work instead of real work, and it was just why it was just not working. And I just encourage people to just give up email for 24 hours, which sounds like nothing, okay? And I just put it out there. I put it on a thing called SlideShare. So SlideShare is a place you can just upload presentations and slides. But at the time, it was, I think it still is, it really nicely integrated with LinkedIn and lots of other social channels. Just really, really easy to share things once we're on SlideShare. and little things like this is something that Seth Godin encouraged you to do, is specifically tell people to share this thing, because people won't share it unless you specifically tell them to. So on the front page, it would say, please share this with other people, just being really explicit about what I wanted people to do off the back of it. And so people did that, and I think I haven't looked lately, 60,000 people read this manifesto, and it got lots of media attention. It got picked up in some big tech blogs and been on BBC Radio 5 Live. I've been on Radio 2, been on loads of big media publications. So lots of people got behind it. And then lots of people, literally all around the world, people took part in email. I just chose a date. I said 11/11/11. That was the first one. And the reason I picked that day was just because I wanted it to work in every time zone. So it didn't, in America, they have like the day the other way around. So I thought, just pick a day that's, I think it was a few months in the future. I just saw 11/11/11. It's memorable. It works in every time zone. Everybody around the world can try and take part in it. And people, like literally all around the world, there were people on that day, gave up email and for 24 hours and just used other forms of communication. They used like social media. They picked up the phone. They spoke to people in person. They walked over to the desk. They got on with the work instead of being interrupted by the email. And just off the back of that, people wrote blogs and did videos and talked about how much happier they were and how much more productive they were without these constant interruptions. So that was a really nice thing to see, that if you put something out there and it captures people's imaginations and people run with it. And so that was before the This Is Mine. That was kind of an example of that. But every year since then, I've done another no email day. So it was 11/11/11, 12/12/12. Then it was 3/3/13, 4/4/14, 5/5/15. Every year we've done. So it's a different day, but it's always been the like 5.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I just thought it's like same day.
No. So yeah, it's always been a different day.
Is this year's coming or gone?
So this year should have been 2/2/20, but I didn't do it this year.
Oh, right, okay.
Did I? No, I didn't do it this. No, I did. Did I do it? No, I didn't do it this year. But last year,
I remember last year it was the Power of You Day.
yes, it was. So it was. Yeah. So was it 9/9/19?
9/9/9. Yeah, 9/9/19. It was the day before. Yeah.
So what was really interesting last year, right? Because so that would have been the 9th year. So yeah, 11, 12.
Yeah.
So after 9 years, I was thinking, kind of like, personally, I was like, I'm kind of a bit bored of this now. Like, I don't. Maybe I'll just stop talking about it and pretend it never happened, right? But last year, I got an email from a woman, a police officer in Merseyside Police. And
I remember you were saying that, yeah.
Said, "Are you the guy behind no email day?" And I feel a bit bad sending you an email, but are you the guy behind no email day? I was like, yeah, that's me. And she's like, right. Apparently, Merseyside Police was struggling with too many emails. There was like too many internal emails flying around. So many that the police weren't doing the police work. It was getting in the way of the police work. So she said, Can you give us some advice on how to cut down on our email usage? And so can you come down and spend the day with us and give us some training and give us some advice on alternative methods of communication? So I went down. I got paid to do it. I got paid for a day's work, and I really enjoyed it. Like, because that was just exciting to see. Okay, what started as something a bit silly actually I knew it anyway, but can have a really positive impact, because if the police or emergency services are not able to do the police work and criminals are getting away or crime's happening, well, let's try and cut down on this email. And email on its own, there's nothing wrong with email. It's how humans use it. That's the problem. So yeah, so they actually did their own no email day, and they've been down on the emails since then. So yeah, pretty cool.
So yeah, it's cool. So because like, okay, no email day, and this is mine, have worked. But how many other things you tried? And then what was the thing you really wanted to work but didn't work?
Oh, nothing fails. Everything works for me all the time. I don't know.
Because
Like,
someone, you might just think like, I think like I got it, but then it just don't
yeah.
go. But I remember you were saying you know that when like things go.
What do you mean? What? So
No, like you said if something's not going, if something's not working, you probably won't attached to it. So I don't know, because I think you mentioned something like that.
yeah. I think
What was
when,
the best experiment?
right. Here's a funny example, right? So when I worked for Sage the second time round, okay, so I got a job as inbound marketing and social media specialist, okay, which is a bit of a buzz phrase, but basically my job was to do anything and everything to get people interested in their products. So to get traffic to the website, so blogging, social media, PR, networking, events, anything and everything to get people interested in what they were doing, being as quick. So that was really cool actually to have a big company with lots of money, lots of resources, had quite a bit of freedom, but still within quite kind of clearly defined parameters. I was constantly pushing those barriers, and for the first few months, I was regularly getting told off. And told, oh, you can't do that. That's not the way we do things down here. That's not the Sage way. And I was like, well, it's working. And they were like, I know, but I don't know why it's working, but that's not how we. And I was like, well, it's working. And showing that sales were up, traffic was up, everything was working. And then eventually they said, all right, we don't understand. Just get on with it. Just don't tell, just do it. Right. So I quite enjoyed that environment, being able to like be anyway. But one of the things that this is they would say, Paul, we need a viral video. Come up with a viral video. I was like, okay, just like that. Okay, what's it going to be? What do you want in it? You know, kind of. Anyway, well, you're in finance, aren't you? You know accounts, so like,
100K, here you go, Paul. Go and play.
so accounting is boring, isn't it? Right. So how do you make accounting exciting? Or legislation exciting? It's pretty hard to.
I don't know. I'll just make it exciting for myself.
Yeah, right. But you'll know about what's it called I can't even remember what the legislation was, but it was to do with payroll. So it was like switching over to a new way of doing your payroll. Okay. So I came up with this idea. I went home, and have you seen the film The Blair Witch Project?
No.
Have you? No. So the Blair
Maybe
Witch.
if I watched, I can't remember. Yeah.
So the Blair Witch Project is like a horror film. Okay.
All right. Okay.
But
So definitely not then.
no, but the whole thing is somebody finds a camcorder in the forest, and then they watch what was filmed, and it's the whole film is meant to look like a camcorder footage of some teenagers or early 20 somethings camping in the forest, and they stumble upon what they think is like a witch's like coven, and they get scared that this witch is chasing. You never actually see the witch. It's just all like whatever.
In your mind.
But there's a famous scene in it where the lady she's talking to the camera. She's in a tent. This is why I've got the hat. I told you there's a reason, right? So she's got like a hat on like that. Okay, it's pitch black. She's got the camera and she's crying, and her nose is running, and she's snot and tears and everything. And she's basically crying about how they're all going to die and it's all her fault and all this sort of stuff, right? So that's a really famous scene from Blair Witch Project. Anyway, I thought, why don't I do a version of that scene for sale. I'll have to send you the video to look at it, right? So I got my son's tent. I turned all the lights off at home. I put his pop-up tent up. I got inside the tent. This is at night time. Put the hat on, reenacted the scene, watched the scene on YouTube a few times, scripted it, and I reenacted the scene, but you changed the wording, and I basically said things like, "It's all my fault. We're gonna get hit by a mob fine because we didn't change the correct song." Just a really stupid video, right? But it was really good. It was really, really good. Like I was so proud of it, and I was like, that is brilliant. Like that is one of the best I've ever done, right? So I went upstairs. I showed my wife it, and she said, that is genius. That is amazing. Like, so she loved it, and she was like hard to please when it came to stuff like that. So she was like, that is brilliant. So I went into work the next day, really, really excited. Showed my boss. Right? And then I could just see his reaction. I was like, this is it. This is brilliant. Like, so he's watching it, and he's just like that, and then he's smiling. He's going, that's amazing. That is so good. That's fantastic. That's what he loved it, right? Then it was like a ripple along the office. Like the more people watched this video, people were giggling and loving it, and everyone was loving it. And I was like, yes, I've come up with this video, right? And it was I called it the PAYE Switch Project. You know, PAYE, so instead of the Blair Witch Project, the PAYE Switch Project. That's what I call it, right? And so people loved it. But what happened was, the more people that saw it, the less likely it was to get approved, because people like in my team loved it, but then someone else in the department saw it, and then they start saying, not sure, don't think that's the way we do things around here. Then someone else saw it, and they started criticizing it. And then basically it got sent to the guy who's in charge, global brand manager for stage. And he said, no, you're not using it, right? And I went to see him, and I was trying to convince him to let us use this video. And he just wouldn't let us use it. And this is what I found frustrating, because his reason for not using it was because.
Do you think it was your acting skills?
No, his reason was because it was based on a horror film, that it might scare people. But if you watch the video, you'll realize there's no way that would scare. It's such a silly thing to do. But I'll never know, because I mean, I'll send you the link, because you can watch it. But I wish they'd done that. Anyway, that was an example of that was frustrating, because I thought that I still think that's one of the best things I've ever done. But then that's too extreme for them. It's not extreme, but it was too extreme. So we did. They said, come up with something else. So do you remember the? Oh God, do you remember the Harlem Shake? What year was it? Oh, again, probably 2014 or something, 13. Yeah, there was a thing called the Harlem Shake, which was just like a song that all around the world people did videos to this song, and it was just stupid dances and whatever.
Right, okay.
Anyway, we came up with a Sage Harlem Shake, and we had about 100 people dressed up in costumes and just crazy outfits, and that got approved. We were allowed to use that, and so in Sage's office they have this huge atrium, this big hallway, which is people sit out and have coffees and whatever. So we filmed it from up high, and there was a guy who walked out into the middle in a white John Travolta suit with a motorcycle helmet on, did a handstand, and when his feet came back onto the ground, all of a sudden 100 people appear, and they're just doing like crazy dances. And then it only lasts about 30 seconds, and then it goes back to him just walking like stupid video. But that worked really well for Sage, because lots of people were like loved it because it wasn't what they were expecting. They didn't think a company like Sage would do something so fun and so entertaining.
Yeah.
So that worked really, really well. And then we did another video, RTI, real-time information.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that? Yeah, you know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So again, how do you make that exciting? So came up with the idea of going into Newcastle city centre, going into the Granger market, which is an indoor market full with small business owners, going around, interviewing them, asking them, do you know what RTI is?
Mm-hmm.
Well, most of them didn't have a clue. So the video is just, it starts with me on Gray's Monument in the city centre with a loudspeaker saying, on the 6th of April, some new legislation's going to come in. And right, so there's me making an announcement, people staring at me thinking, who's this crazy person doing that? Then we go to the indoor market, ask people, and everyone's going, nah, don't know what it is, haven't a clue, never heard of it. So everybody gets it wrong. And then eventually we found this young guy who was a greengrocer, and he actually knew what RTI was because he'd heard about it on the video. So he gave us the perfect answer. And I said, right, can you do that again to the camera? But when you say the answer, can you say this line? RTI, way I? It's so that's a Geordie phrase, way I. It's like, yes, I know what that is. So the video was RTI, way I. So it's that's a good that works well. So yeah, and the bosses loved it, everybody loved it. Did really well as a campaign, so yeah.
So you're going to send that video as well, yeah?
I'll send you that as well. Look at that.
Yeah, that would be lovely because it's interesting. So your careers, it's been like quite a journey. And today I come across this tweet from Tom Billio, and what he said on his tweet was, "You want the secret to true greatness. Practice so much that people become convinced you must have a natural talent." So do you agree? And what do you practice every day? Or what did you practice every day so you become so good at it and people think you are natural?
Okay. I like Tom Billio. I do follow him, and I find myself liking pretty much everything that he puts out there. He is quite aggressive. Like some of his things are a bit like over the top and a bit full on. But like, I think if you had Tom Billio next to you all the time, it would be a bit too much.
I love him.
Yeah, but a bit Tom Billio.
Yeah, sometimes I disagree. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But if you had him next to you all the time shouting at you, like, be a bit much. But yeah, but no, I suppose it's like if you want to be a writer, you've got to write. Like it's no good saying I'm a writer.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, no, I'm just saying like it's easy to, if you say I'm a writer, but you haven't written anything for days or weeks, where you're not a writer, are you? You should be practicing every day. You should be writing every day. If you're a musician, you should be making music every day. Whatever it is that you want to do, you should do it every day if you can. So I suppose me being this like SuperConnector, well, what is a SuperConnector? Well, I can honestly say every day of the week, I'm connecting people in some way. I'm using my knowledge, my insights, my network to connect with people, or connect people to other people, or connect them to products or services or something that's going to help them get closer to where they want to be. So I think that's what I am. I think that's what I do. So even the name, calling myself a SuperConnector, it is a buzz phrase, obviously, but like if you know who I am and you know what I do, it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like if you don't know what I do, there's probably some people who look at that and go, what the hell is a SuperConnector? Or like, that's a bit arrogant calling yourself a SuperConnector. Like, and I have had some people say there's no such thing as a SuperConnector, right? Well, there is, because I am one and I'm doing it every day. And I've been doing it for years. I've been doing it for 15 years to doing it. So that's why it comes natural to me, or people maybe look at me and think, wow, you're really good at that. And because I practiced it. It's not something I've just decided to do.
Yeah, because you're talking about like occupation wise, and of course that's repetition as well. But what about the skills? Because like Michael says, truth there, writing every day. Because I understand writing, and maybe play musical instruments, or you going, what do you call it, skateboarding?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like more you do.
Yeah. Well,
So what's that type of thing you do every day to practice to?
yeah, but even that, I mentioned before, Seth Godin, I think it was yesterday or the day before, he wrote a blog all about this. He said people often talk about soft skills, and they sometimes talk about it in a disparaging way, or they like think it's not that important. But actually, soft skills are really, really important. If you don't have soft skills, you're going to find it harder. Like, yes, you can have like practical hard skills. You can know how to use a keyboard, or you could know how to hammer or do something. But if you can't build a rapport with someone, if you can't communicate with someone, if you don't have empathy, you can't build trust, or like a lot of intangible things that I think only come with experience. Not only experience, but a willingness to learn and adapt and not be so fixed. Then that's how you learn. So that is they are skills that not many people have, and I think I have a lot of those skills just from going back to when I was a small boy. I've always been, even thinking about it now, like I've always had people say, "Oh, you're a really good listener," or like you. But I am a good listener, but I'm interested. I am genuinely interested in other people, and if I can help, I will help. And I like that feeling that I get, but that they get if we have an interesting conversation and I feel changed, or they feel changed, or we go away happy or energized. I just love that. So yeah, so I think they are skills that not many people have, that you can through practice, but willingness to. And anybody can start, but you start today and just try it, get easier and get better.
So, do you believe in 10,000 hours rule?
Yes, I do. So so Malcolm Gladwell, I think that's where it is. It Outliers.
Yeah. Outliers. Yeah.
So that's where the connector kind of came from. His book, The Tipping Point, because he talks about why some ideas are successful and others aren't, and he says that you need mavens. Mavens are people who just love finding out about new things. You need connectors who go out of their way to tell people about it. They won't just tell one or two people. They'll think, who do I know that would benefit from learning about this thing? And then they'll actively tell those people. They'll go through their phone book. They'll go through the contacts and they'll tell those people. And then salespeople or marketing people who will constantly keep pushing that message. So that book, The Tipping Point, talks about if you have those three things, those three types of people behind an idea, you've got a much higher chance of something being successful. So when I read that, I thought, I am a maven because I love finding out about stuff. I am a connector, and I am a pretty good marketing person. I'm not a salesperson, but I am a marketing person. So I want to set out to be the best of all those three things that I can be. So so I read that when it first came out. That was probably about 9 years ago, and that's when I set out to be the best connector, super connector I could be. But I only started calling myself a super connector when I started my own business 4.5 years ago. But yeah, the 10,000 hours, that resonated with me as well. I thought, yeah, again, if you want to be good at something, you just got to start something new, but keep doing it, keep practicing it. And if you put enough hours in and put enough practice in, you will get better at it, and you will. I don't think you're ever finished. You're never like finished article. You can always improve and never stop learning. But yeah, 10,000 hours. I haven't worked it out how many years 10,000 hours is, but
I don't think there is a limit.
No.
Yeah. So what's the growth mean to you?
Yeah. Well, just touching on that, I think like always learning, or always trying to improve yourself or the things that you do. So you can talk about business growth, or you can talk about personal growth, but yeah, me personal growth is more important than business growth. So always want to learn, always want to try new things, always want to get better. But this year in particular, I've always been, I think in definitely the last 10, 15 years, I've read a lot of business books, marketing books, because I was trying to like be the best I could be in that field. And I've always been interested in sort of spirituality or personal development, but I haven't really spent much time on it. But then this year during the lockdown, that's something I have. End of last year in particular, and this year I've been reading a lot of books on personal development, spirituality. You know, we talked about the Mike Dooley thoughts become things, and manifestations and all that sort of stuff. But also with a heavy dose of practicality, like stoicism. You know, so I'm kind of this weird mix of very open-minded, very spiritual, anything's possible, but at the same time very practical as well. And like when I decide something's got to be done, I can do, just crack on and do it.
Make
but
it happen.
Yeah, having that split brain, I think, I don't know what the ability to live in the clouds, but also be willing to like get stuck in on the ground and get my hands dirty as well.
That's fab. So when would you say you are on your journey?
Where am I on my journey? Well, I don't know. Like, hopefully, I'm only halfway through it, because I'm. Who knows? You don't win it, but like.
Are you not starting something new?
Yes, I am starting. Yes.
What about tribes?
There you go. I've got the merch. So that is again, that's something that I've been thinking of doing for a few years now, but the timing hasn't been quite right, and I've been busy doing other stuff. So, but actually, everything started my own business 4.5 years ago. Originally, it was just can I be self-employed? Can I make enough money to pay the bills and keep myself going and support the family and stuff, which I did. So doing a bit of consultancy work initially. Then I thought, actually, I think what the Northeast needs is a big event, a big 5-day citywide multi-venue festival called Newcastle Startup Week. So the first day was just, can I do it? And I did it, and it was amazing. So then it was like, can I do it again, but a bit better, which I did. And then last day it was even bigger and better. And but even at the beginning, I had another idea that simultaneously that was like, as well as the physical events, I think I am this SuperConnector, but it would be good if there was a digital version of me, basically. It was an online platform people could use that would do all the things that I do all year, but at scale and in a more efficient way, because I can't speak to everybody, and I can't, much as I would like to help everyone, I can't. So the idea was to call it a SuperConnector platform, but I didn't have the right people around me, and I didn't have the right money, and I didn't have enough money to do it, and I didn't have the technical expertise. So I had to make a choice. Okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to try and push forward this thing, or am I going to do the events? And I thought, right, I'll do the events first, and I'll build a community around that, and that's. And Startup Week is basically the perfect example of who I am. I think like it's everything that I am represented in an event of like bringing people together, creating a platform for lots of people. Everybody can benefit from it, whether you're in the audience, on stage, exhibiting. Everybody can get something out of it. It's inspiration, it's education, it's connection, it's community, it's excitement, it's inward investment, it's talent retention, talent attraction. It's everything. It's everything all in one event. But having done 3 years of that, and then this year because of the lockdown. Obviously, we've had to pivot from a physical event to online events, which have been going well. I thought now is the time. It makes even more sense now to create this online platform, which is called Tribes.
Yeah.
And basically, we're connecting all the different tribes, and the way it's going to work is anybody can use it. It's going to be what we call a freemium model, a bit like LinkedIn, where anybody can use it for free, like a limited functionality. It's going to allow people to create niche networks around themselves. So whatever their idea is, whether it's a business, a project, anything, they go on and they can create a niche network around themselves. So Tribes is the platform. We're connecting the different tribes. We're connecting entrepreneurs, investors, business advisors, professional services, creatives. They're all the different tribes, but then everybody can have their own unique tribe within that as well.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to work. So,
oh, I see. Right.
Got 2 co-founders that I'm working on it with, and the aim is to launch it in May next year. And anybody who's part of the Startup Week community now gets basically priority access to Tribes. So every Startup Week now, the online, we've got a private Facebook group people can join. That's like a precursor to Tribes. So everybody who's in there now will be invited to join. Well, anybody wider Startup Week community will be invited to join, but the ones who are in the community now, active, they get access to Tribes when that goes live.
Sounds really exciting.
Yeah, it will be. It's going to be, like I say, it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but not had the right people around me. But I've got the right people around me now, so it's not just me doing it. There's other co-founders, lots of excitement, lots of interest in it. Momentum's building, and it just feels the time is right. That Startup Week and Tribes are merging together into one now.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't realize it was 7 minutes past 8 o'clock.
Okay, well, can talk a lot.
Yeah, like I could have just can continue over and over, but it's probably just because we advertise it till 8.
Did you get all of the questions, or was there anything else that you wanted to? Did you get the only questions, or is there anything else?
Yes, I did. I had just one question left, and that was because you've been interviewed by so many people. Is there any question you always wanted someone like you thought, oh, please ask me that question, but never occurred?
I don't think so. No. I mean,
so you covered 100%.
No, but I mean, this is really, really good because I do normally when I get interviewed, it's about business or like marketing or startup. So this is more. I'm not saying it's more interested. It is more interested in different ways because they're all interested. I'm not saying they're not interested because I do enjoy them, but this has been a really interesting interview to do because you've gone deeper into certain things or asked me things and I've talked about things I've never talked about before. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So where can people find you and join Tribes and Newcastle Startup community? What's going to happen Founders Friday? It's like so many questions in the same time.
Yeah, so the best thing to do if people like the sound of Startup Week or want to be part of the community and find out about Tribes or get closer to me is anybody can join the online Startup Week community. It is a private Startup Week community at the minute. So, and it is a paid for thing, so it's £75 for 12 months. And so if they go to newcastlestartupweek.com, they'll find out details on there. But what that does is it lets you join the private Facebook group. Monday to Friday, I'm sharing content, inspirational content, useful content. I'm signposting people to things. They get direct access to me. They get one-to-one consultations from me, video consultations. They get special offers, deals, discounts. And they do get priority access to the Tribes event that we do in May. And then you mentioned Founders Friday. We were doing, as well as the annual Startup Week event, we were doing monthly Founders Friday events. but I had to stop during the lockdown. I've started doing them again every month, but they take place within the private Facebook group. So everything, loads of content, loads of resources, lots of help and support, and in a nice group of supportive, like-minded, encouraging people. Because I think increasingly what I've realized is it's even the Startup Week events, it's less about business and it's more about a feeling of belonging, that you're part of something, and that there are people around you that can encourage you, support you, inspire you, and if you do need some help, you just have to ask and someone will help. And I know there are lots of communities out there, but I think that's something that I'm really keen to encourage more of, and just like that's personally what I'm there to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been great pleasure, Paul, and thanks very much.
You're welcome.
And also thank you for everyone joined us for just over an hour.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope people enjoy it, and we'll get this shared everywhere so even more people can see it. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much.
See you. Bye.
See you. Bye. Bye.